Hello everybody and welcome back to Crypto Oracles. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about PRISM, a project part of the TerraLuna ecosystem. As you know, in our group, we're very long on Luna. We think Luna and the TerraLuna ecosystem are going to grow in 2022. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you want to hear more about this, and smash the like button for this video. Check the description down below. I'm going to put all the useful links and everything I'm going to discuss in this video in there. And definitely join our Discord. We're doing a massive whitelisting for our NFT sale in 2022. And we have all sort of ongoing discussions about investments and TerraLuna ecosystem. All right, so let me jump right into it and talk about PRISM. So as we always do, let's check out the website first and let's see what they say. So PRISM enables users to split digital assets into yield and principal components, refracting digital assets. Right, so what does that mean? Well, let me start from the point that in DeFi, we have one issue, which is whenever you are interested in a coin, you basically have to face a decision. Are you going to be holding this coin with the option of selling right away at any point in time? So you're basically just holding it, speculating on the price, and then you're going to make some returns off of that price if you sell when the price goes up. Or are you going to be staking that? So are you going to be making some yield off of your staking? But then, for example, with Luna, that has a 21 days lock-in period. So you have to choose one of the two. And PRISM basically allows you not to have to make this choice, but you can profit from both, the best of both worlds. And how to do this, they split the token, they refract the Luna token. One important thing that I want to say at the beginning of the video, it's when we are in the TerraLuna ecosystem, you have to think about Luna as of the main token as you think about euros and dollars in your daily life, right? So you wouldn't consistently be worried about the movement of the dollar and the movement of euros, for example. You would just use it on your daily life, you would get interest from it, and so on. And here's the same thing with Luna, right? If you're long on Luna, you think it's a good ecosystem, you will buy the Luna token, and then inside the ecosystem, you will use it on a daily basis. Either thinking that the price will move, or using it to stake, or do all sort of things that you can do in the ecosystem. So let's see what I say on the FAQ session. So what is PRISM? PRISM allows users to lock in a fixed yield or price, or to take capital efficient exposure to these components. How does PRISM work? PRISM splits a yield-bearing digital asset into its core components, a yield token and a principal token. And how are the prices of these tokens determined? Well, there is an automated market maker that allows you, allowing the market to determine the clearing level or value of each instrument. So this is part of the PRISM ecosystem and the PRISM applications. All right, so I want to take a pause here, and I know many of you are very savvy in this space, but not everybody fully understands these words and these keywords. So let's stop a second and talk about the difference in between yield and return. So yield is the income return on an investment, such as the interest received from holding a security. The yield is forward-looking. Now, we think about yield when we talk about staking. So you stake Luna, you're basically talking about yield. You're going to receive a yield over time, and it's forward-looking. You know at the beginning of the year that you're going to be getting 8% APY if you stake Luna, or 20% APY if you stake a USD. A return, on the other hand, is a financial gain or loss on an instrument, and it simply expresses the change in the dollar value of an investment over time. So you just buy Luna and you speculate on the price, you think it's going to grow, you can sell anytime, so you have much more freedom in this case, and then return is basically the gain or loss that you make of that. So it's very important, and in PRISM, you basically split Luna into these two components. So it allows you to take one coin and gain both of this from that one coin, and we're going to take a look at how to do that in a second. So to kind of get you started, let's take a look at this video from the PRISM channel, and let's watch it together and get a better understanding for what happens to Luna tokens once they enter the PRISM ecosystem.
Let's say Alice holds Luna tokens. She deposits them into the PRISM vault, where they are immediately staked, earning rewards and airdrops. In return, she receives C Luna tokens, which represent her ownership of Luna in the vault. Alice can use PRISM to refract her C Luna tokens into P Luna and Y Luna tokens. The P Luna tokens represent the principal that Alice has in the vault and offers leveraged exposure to Luna's price with no risk of liquidation. The Y Luna tokens give Alice the right to receive all staking rewards and airdrops of the Luna tokens in the vault. These 2 tokens open up a world of opportunities for Alice. She could deposit her Y Luna into one of the vaults and start claiming airdrops and staking rewards with one simple click and reinvesting. She could swap her Y Luna for more P Luna, maximizing her exposure to Luna's price, or swap P Luna for Y Luna to maximize her exposure to Luna's yield. Alternatively, Alice can provide liquidity on an AMM to start earning fees and incentives, or deposit her Y Luna or P Luna in money market protocols to earn incremental yield.
Right, so I think this was very interesting, and I hope this was self-explanatory. If you have any questions, leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. But I think this was really good, and this definitely explains how these 2 tokens work and what you can do with them. So let me go ahead and actually drive you through an example that I found on our white paper. So let's say you as a user, you deposit Luna in Prism and you get P Luna and Y Luna tokens. Then the user decides to stake the Y Luna token in Prism and start receiving staking rewards, which include airdrop, for example. And then uses the P Luna, which is the principal, to be a liquidity provider in the P Luna Prism automated market maker liquidity pool. It just means that you provide liquidity. The user starts earning liquidity incentives and automated market maker fees as a result. So you basically, you took your Y Luna and you basically stake it and you start receiving the staking interest. And then you took your P Luna and you provide liquidity to a pool. And because of that, you also gain some exposure to the price that you already have with P Luna, and you gain liquidity incentives. So you gain a reward for providing liquidity, and through the Prism ecosystem, you also gain part of the fees of the automated market making application as a result. Now, after a while, the user decides to sell his Y Luna, so the yield part of the Luna token, and you buy more P Luna. So you're basically moving your exposure from yield to returns. You're getting more exposure to the principal side. The user unstakes Y Luna from Prism and opts to immediately sell it on the automated market maker with no unstaking period. So that's the other thing, right? You don't have any unstaking period. You just unstake it, stop getting yield, and you sell it on the automated market maker. The transaction proceeds, so the transaction gains are used to buy additional P Luna. So now you have more exposure, and giving the user leverage exposure to Luna price performance with no risk of liquidation. And there is a really nice diagram down here that kind of shows you what you do. So you get your Luna, and then through Prism, you get P Luna and Y Luna. Perpetual here simply means that you can use these tokens forever to do the sort of operations we just described, that don't have a maturity date, don't expire. And you can provide liquidity in the P Luna Prism pool and earning fees, or you can use it as a collateral in other protocols. So of course, you can use these tokens in other protocols, part of Prism and part of the TerraLuna ecosystem. And then with the Y Luna, you can stake and receive airdrops, or you can swap Y Luna for more P Luna and increase your exposure to Luna price. Right, I think that was very clear, should be very clear at this point. Feel free to ask any questions said in the comment section down below. Just taking a look at Twitter, I just want to give you a bit of a heads up. This is the official Twitter page for Prism, and you can see here all the relevant links and all the announcements. We're going to talk about the Prism launch in 1 second. I just want to give you a bit of a heads up. If you go on Twitter and you start looking for Prism, you will find many different tokens. You will find Prism protocol, you will find Prism, you will find Prism network and so on. So be careful about the one that you follow. Make sure you follow the official one. I'm going to put this in the description down below. Right, and a good example that I found on Twitter kind of gives you an idea of what happens when you put your Luna. So imagine you have $100 in Luna and you put it in Prism, you get the 2 components, P Luna and Y Luna, which of course have different value, right? So P Luna is $90 and Y Luna is $10. So that's basically the value of your tokens. And assumed Terra yields are that you get 8% on Luna staking and 20% on Incur. So to leverage Luna staking APY, you sell your P Luna for $90 and buy 9 times more Y Luna for $10 each. So now you basically turn all your Luna into Y Luna. So you're mainly interested in staking. If the APY of Luna is 10%, and your APY is, then your APY is now 100%. because you have 10% for each of those Y Luna tokens. You have 10 of them. So it's 100% on the $100 spent on the initial 1 Luna. I'm going to link this thread in the description down below. I think it's really useful. Go through it. If you find it complicated, definitely feel free to drop a comment to the author or to me, and I'm trying to get back to you with a good response. Another thing that I want to flag to you is if you go on Coinmarketcap right now, you will not find the actual Prism. They still haven't launched their token, but you may find many other tokens, so be very careful. And they actually have the same logo or very similar logo, so this one looks exactly the same. And if you look at this one, it's on Solana, and it's been around for just about 1 month. Actually, the date could be very misleading because it looks like they launched on the 24th of December, and Prism is launching on the 25th of January, so be careful. And another one that I found, which is somewhat misleading, but definitely a true coin, is Prism Network, which it's unrelated to Prism. It's on Ethereum, and they have their own page, they are on their own website, and the logo is also very similar. To definitely be careful when you look at these, and don't buy a coin that doesn't have anything to do with this project. Right, now I'm going to link this article. This article kind of explains what I said in this video and goes through exactly what I talked about, how they split the Luna token, what it allows you to do, and what are the benefits. So I think we covered this pretty well so far, so I'm not going to go through it, but definitely have a read of this. It's a 10 minutes read, and I will link in the description down below. And before we conclude, I want to tell you about the Prism launch. So if you think Prism is a good idea, if you think you're going to be using Prism, and I think if you're interested in TerraLuna ecosystem, you definitely should at least try to use it once and see, how you find yourself with it. Then you're probably interested in investing in Prism. This is by no means financial advice. I'm just giving you some information. So Prism will launch in 4 phases from the 25th of January. I think this is a very fair launch. The way it will work, it will just deposit USD in their protocol, and then you will get back Prism at a certain price. And I'm going to tell you how the price is defined now. So there's 4 phases. Prism Forge, which is just depositing USD into and then turning them into Prism tokens. Prism Swap, so they will allow you to basically buy Prism on the AMM and swap tokens. Prism Refract, which is what we talked about, they will begin doing a refracting, so you can use Luna to refract. And then Prism Farming, so they will open their farms and users can swap Y Luna yield for Prism tokens. So you can also swap for Prism, and that will give you all sort of rights in the ecosystem. Now, the first phase starting January 25th, so it's just 10 days from today. And during this stage, 70 million tokens, 70% of the total supply, will be released to participants who contribute to a USD pool. The USD pool will be open for deposit and withdrawal for 96 hours. During this period, users can contribute as much USD in the pool as they would like. During this stage, participant can only withdraw the USD. Oh, sorry, that's stage 2. So you have 24 hours if you change your mind to withdraw USD that can be deposited. This is very similar to the way that the Incur protocol launched. So you had some period in which you could deposit and withdraw, and a period in which you can only withdraw. And then the price will be calculated with the following formula. So it's the total USD in the vault divided by the 70 million Prism tokens available. So I think this is pretty fair. The more USD you deposit, effectively, the more you will buy, and the more, the less USD you deposit, depending on the amount of USD. So if a lot of people deposit a lot of USD, then you'll probably get very little. So don't expect to get a massive amount. There is definitely a lot of interest in this project, but definitely this is definitely a fair way to launch. The amount of Prism tokens the participant received can be calculated with this formula. So the participants USD in the vault divided by the total USD in the vault times 70 million Prism tokens. So you can do these calculations when they start launching. And then phase 2 will be the Prism swap, where you can actually buy Prism tokens on the DEX for the first time, and you can use the automated market maker. The third phase, which is the one we just discussed in this video, will then be the refract phase, where you can start refracting Luna tokens. And this is really interesting. It says users will be able to split their Luna into Y Luna and Blue Luna, which we talked about. The web app will also allow users to do 4 things: stake Y Luna and receiving staking rewards, provide liquidity and receive liquidity provided tokens in returns, which can also be staked. Stake PRISM and receive X PRISM, which you can use to participate in governance and earn protocol fees. And use PRISM Swap to trade or leave limit orders to buy all of the tokens of PRISM, X PRISM, Luna, Y Luna, P Luna, C Luna, USD, and AUSD. I'm going to link this article as well in the description down below. So this is it for today. Thank you very much for listening. If you appreciated and enjoyed this video, definitely consider subscribing and smashing the like button. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time.